Good evening, baseball fans. Happy Labor Day weekend. Man, oh man, we had some fun baseball this weekend. Braves and Dodgers, big time series. Ronald Acuna Jr. making history. The Brewers are hot. The Orioles are hot. The Rangers are collapsing before our very eyes. The Giants are cold. Will the Dodgers move down a spot after their series loss this weekend? We got some Shohei Ohtani news. Let's get to it. Oh, hello everyone. My microphone wasn't on. How you doing? Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Power Rankings. What do you know? Starting off with my potato brain making an error tonight. How you doing, everyone? Happy Labor Day weekend. Oh man, I'm excited for Labor Day tomorrow. You know why I'm excited for Labor Day tomorrow? You know why? Because I'm going to Tropicana Field. I'm watching the Red Sox and the Rays tomorrow. I get to watch Brian Bayo, Aaron Savali. I'm excited for it. I'm excited. It's going to be a big day tomorrow. Hope you're all having a good weekend. How you doing? Braves Dodgers this weekend. That was fun. Ronald Acuna Jr. looking like he is well on his way to winning an MVP award. I think it's pretty close still when it comes to the debate between Ronald Acuna Jr. and Mookie Betts, but I think Ronald Acuna Jr., I mean, I'm just saying, 30-60 club. He's in his own club. He literally made his own club. If you make your own club, I'm just saying. I mean, I think that's a pretty good excuse to win an MVP award, if you ask me. I'm just saying. We had some good baseball this weekend. We got the Orioles playing great baseball. Speaking of the Braves, also playing great baseball. Brewers are playing some good baseball. The Cubs are playing some good baseball. We got some teams moving down a little bit. The Rangers on the top of that list. Man, oh man. Aroldis Chapman. We're looking like it's looking like we're seeing the old Aroldis Chapman a little bit lately. Man, oh man, that guy was off to a good start this year, and not a whole lot from Aroldis Chapman lately. The Rangers are not looking very good. We got a super chat here of Jonathan Himes. How you doing? Jonathan Himes, $5 super chat. Hey, I know this is baseball, but we recently lost our family dog. I'm sorry, my friend. I'm sorry. I went through a few dogs in my life passing away. It's never a great feeling. It's never a great feeling, and I'm sorry for your loss, my friend. I really am. There's nothing like, it's a man's best friend at the end of the day. And, hey, I love dogs. I'm a huge dog lover. I had a couple Jack Russells growing up. I actually had a couple of English Bulldogs as well. Man, love those dogs, man. I want at some point possibly a golden retriever down the road. I mean, come on. How can you not want a golden retriever? Those things are just so awesome. They're perfect. I'm just saying. But I'm sorry, Jonathan, that you lost your family dog. Man, oh man, just think of the good memories. So that's what I did. He loved baseball, so I was wondering if you could give Moose a shout out. Moose. Thank you for giving Jonathan a lot of happy years, my friend. Appreciate you, Moose. And Jonathan, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for stopping by tonight. And thank you for coming to me for a source of any sort of baseball knowledge. I appreciate you using me as that venue. So thank you, Jonathan. Everyone, if you can, give Moose a shout out in the chat. Everyone, we got power rankings tonight, and we do have some movement here. We got a new team in the top 10. We got some movement in the top 10. We got a couple of teams near the bottom moving their way up. And we got a little something this week. We got a little something. We are now in September. The playoff chase is now heating up. We're past the dog days of August. We are approaching playoff baseball. I'm excited. I love September. July is obviously a fun month of the season because you have the trade deadline, the All-Star break. Obviously, opening day is amazing. But September in the regular season is awesome. Love September, except for 2011. I will always hate the year 2011 because my Red Sox went through the worst collapse. One of the worst collapses in baseball history. I will always try to not remember that year. But September baseball, love it. We're getting into the meat of the playoff races here, and it is tight in the American League, in some divisions, in the wild card. You got the National League wild card. It is extremely tight right now. It's a fun week of baseball. We're going to dive through it for this episode, and we're going to take a look at kind of how playoff chances are looking. We'll go to Fangraphs. We'll take a look at some of the chances for each of the teams in the playoff race. So let's get to it here, everyone. I usually go through the sponsor and everything in the beginning. I'm going to do it a little different tonight. I'm going to talk about our sponsor about halfway through the show. Proudly sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Link is in the description down below. If you want to go check it out, click the link. You get a double on your first deposit up to $100. I'll dive more into it in the middle of the show. If you can, everyone, like goal for tonight. Let's shoot for 100 likes tonight. If we can shoot for 100 likes, if we can get 100 likes, I will love you forever. Subscribe if you are new, and share the show if you can. Let's get to it here, everyone. Let's get to it. So, as always, we start at number 30, and we go all the way to number 1. Let's get the music set up here, and let's get this show on the road. Thank you, moderators, for stopping by tonight. Thank you to all the members stopping by tonight. And if anyone does have a super chat, I'm going to try to maybe look at those towards the end. I'm going to try something a little different tonight. I'm going to try and get through the power rankings just kind of without many interruptions. I'm going to try it that way for tonight. And if there are any super chats at the end, I'm not saying you have to, but if you do, I will take a look at them at the end. So here we go, everyone. Let's get the show on the road. Let's get the music ready. We are ready. And starting at number 30. Here we go. We have, of course, the Oakland A's. Starting off at number 30. Not a whole lot for the Oakland A's. Actually, the numbers don't look awful for the Oakland A's lately. Not completely terrible. J.P. Sears, he had 6 shutout innings against the Angels the other night. Paul Blackburn, 5 innings, 1 earned against the Angels. So some pretty decent pitching for the Oakland A's. A 3.90 ERA over the last 14 games. They had 14 hits against the Angels on Saturday. My goodness, the Angels getting absolutely pummeled. And Mark Kotsay got his 100th win. Milestone for Mark Kotsay, even in a bad season. Here we go. Actually, I guess 100 wins. That's not really saying all that much. Anyway, at number 29, we got the Colorado Rockies. Not really too much going on here. Elihuris Montero over the last 7 games, hitting .381 with a 1.051 OPS. So he is stepping it up lately. That was one of the pieces they got back in the Nolan Arenado trade. If that guy can get it going, man, that will definitely lessen the blow of the Rockies losing Arenado. And I guess there's also a fun little stat from this past weekend. Brenton Doyle had a 105.7 mile per hour throw to home plate. And according to StatCast, that is a StatCast record. Man, oh man. That's pretty fun. At number 28, I just saw this team this weekend. We took 2 out of 3 against them, the Kansas City Royals. Oh, man, they put up 13 against the Red Sox in the first game on Friday. I was not feeling very great after that, but hey, the Red Sox, they found a way to bounce back over the next couple of games. But I'm going to put a spotlight here on Cole Ragans. Man, Cole Ragans right now, he was one of the pieces that went back for Aroldis Chapman, and that's making that one not look all that great. Or that's now making that situation not as great, considering the struggles of Chapman, and now Cole Ragans with the Royals is doing really well. over the last month, Cole Ragans has a 2.05 ERA. That is 7th in the major leagues. He has a 1.53 FIP over the last month. That ranks first in Major League Baseball, as well as his xFIP, a 2.13 xFIP. That ranks first overall in the last month as well. He also has 13.2 strikeouts per 9. That ranks second in the major leagues over the last month. Cole Ragans do we have a new ace for the Kansas City Royals? I'm just saying. Royals fans, they need something to feel good about, and Cole Ragans is definitely giving them a lot to feel good about. At number 27, we got the Chicago White Sox. Not really much to talk about on the field. They hired a new general manager. They promoted Chris Getz, former player, into the general manager role. They definitely have a busy offseason ahead. The White Sox got a lot to do. A very disappointing season for the White Sox. They had a ton of talent, but they got a lot of money coming off the books. You know, to me, when you have a new general manager in place and you have a lot of financial flexibility coming towards you, along with an owner that is motivated, you know, say what you will about Reinsdorf, but he wants this team to get better, especially before he ends up leaving the White Sox. People have been asking him, why don't you sell? What are you doing? I mean, come on. Isn't this the time for you to leave now? And, you know, how could you keep doing this job? And he says that he wants the team to be in better shape before he leaves. So I think Chris Getz, he's going to have all the support from him. He's going to go out there in free agency. I think he's going to go out there and try and make some moves. Look for the White Sox to try and make some moves this offseason. They've now replenished that farm. Definitely replenished that farm. They got a lot of pieces at the deadline. And I think they're going to go out there and try and sign some guys. So it's going to be interesting. There was another thing that was interesting from Reinsdorf talking to the media this past week. Guaranteed rate field. The lease for Guaranteed Rate Field is up in 2029. I know that might sound pretty far away. That is crazy. 2029. The fact that we're even almost talking about that year. What in the world is going on here? I thought yesterday was like 2008, and now it's almost 2029. Anyway, the lease goes through 2029. So people have been speculating, you know, what's going on here with the White Sox? Like, is there maybe a move in order? Are they going to be moving out of Chicago? But Larry Reinsdorf, as of right now, he has shot that down. He says they haven't even began talks, even started any sort of talks. You know, he says that's going to be coming up pretty soon. But that is going to be fast approaching. You know, it's obviously you're 5 years out at the beginning of next season. So I think you got to do something there. Could this be something where maybe the White Sox, are they maybe looking at a move? I don't know. I think you should keep your eyes on that one. I think that's pretty interesting. At number 26, we got the Washington Nationals. They came back down to earth this week. The Nationals, they were going pretty well there for a little while. They were winning a lot of games, and they really came back down to earth this week. They got swept by the Marlins. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Jays. Not really a whole lot from the Nationals. Not great pitching, pretty subpar offense. Just not really a good week for the Nationals at all. So they drop back down here to the mid-20s in my power rankings. And Lane Thomas, on a bright note, has homered in 3 straight games. Jimmy Productions, take a look at my donations, Robbie. Jimmy, I'm going to try and wait till the end. I want to try and get through the power rankings for tonight. Going to try it a little different tonight, Jimmy. Just going to try and move our way through. And or maybe I'll take a look about halfway through. So, because I've been noticing over the last few weeks, I've been getting a little distracted with some of the super chats, and I feel like I tend to get off course a little bit. So I'm going to try it just a little new. Super chats at the end, maybe a couple halfway through. Number 25, we got the Mets. At number 25. Pete Alonso has now reached 40 home runs, and Pete Alonso is in some pretty good company. He is now the 5th player in MLB history to have 40-plus homers in 3 of his first 5 seasons. The only other 4 are Ralph Kiner, Eddie Matthews, Ryan Howard, and Albert Pujols. So Pete Alonso is in some pretty decent company. When I think of Pete Alonso, I almost kind of think of Ryan Howard a little bit, sort of like similar kind of players. Ralph Kiner, Eddie Matthews, Pujols. Those are like, some of the greatest of all time. Will Pete Alonso get to that kind of a point? I don't know, but could I see him getting to that sort of a level that Ryan Howard got to, like a Hall of Great kind of a guy? I could see that. Yeah, I could see a Pete Alonso being that kind of a guy. But either way, he's in some great company, 40-plus home runs in 3 of his first 5 seasons. As for the guys on the field, as of right now, DJ Stewart is hitting well, 4 homers, a 1.255 OPS over his last 7 games. So if you are into Underdog Fantasy, maybe DJ Stewart might be a good guy to draft for a daily draft or maybe even some pick'ems. So we'll talk about Underdog Fantasy here in just a little bit. Kadai Senga. Kadai Senga is pitching his butt off lately, man. Kadai Senga against Seattle this weekend had 12 strikeouts over 7 innings. 10 strikeouts against the Angels in his start prior to that in 6 2/3 innings. So Kadai Senga really pitching well. And that's, to me, a really good sign for next season. Now, everyone's talking about the Mets. They're going to be, really focusing on 2025. They can still compete in 2024. I think you could still go out there, maybe make a move. Maybe a giant move, maybe not. But could they make some smaller moves, maybe give themselves a chance in 2024? Sure. But Kadai Senga, the fact that he is pitching that well, I'm just saying, that's a good sign for next year. But speaking of the offseason, we got a little something on David Stearns. Okay, so let's actually share the screen here. David Stearns, he has been long rumored to be the next guy to lead the Mets, possibly their next president of baseball operations. Remember, Bob Nightingale, back in June, he reported that the Mets were going to hire David Stearns after the season. I do think personally that is going to happen. He was connected with the Mets even like before last season, right? Or after he left the Brewers. That was a connection that was instantly made, right? It was a rumor from that very get-go. They are still the favorites, according to Bob Nightingale. Still the favorites. However, the Red Sox are now rumored to maybe be in the mix. That is very interesting. I'm very curious about that. I don't know. I'm going to talk more about that when I get to the Red Sox. But he even mentions the Angels. He's saying here, Artie Moreno has not decided whether or not to retain Perry Managian. He mentions the Blue Jays. That could be interesting as well. White Sox, but they already just hired Chris Getz. But that was for a general manager, right? Could they hire someone like a David Stearns to be the president of baseball ops? And then you could have Chris Getz as the GM. That is a model now that is being used. So David Stearns to the Mets, maybe not quite as a slam dunk as it was before. But let's keep our eyes on this. Back to the power rankings. At number 24, we got the St. Louis Cardinals. We got the Cardinals, up and down week for the Cardinals, winning 2 out of 3 against the Padres, losing 2 out of 3 to the Pirates. Jordan Walker homering for a second straight day today. Jordan Walker is hot over his last 7 games, hitting .522 with a .556 on base and a 1,000 slugging. Jordan Walker is hot. Add him in all daily fantasy. Underdog Fantasy would be a good bet too. Also in the last 7 games, he has 3 homers total and 7 RBIs. Other news, Steven Matz has suffered a lat injury a little while ago, and it's looking like he is going to be officially done for the season. There's no reason to push Steven Matz. The Cardinals are out of it. At number 23, speaking of those Pittsburgh Pirates, they have been playing some pretty decent baseball lately. Did lose to the Cardinals today, but they had won 5 straight leading into today. They actually had some pretty decent pitching over the last couple of weeks. Mitch Keller, Oviedo, they've been pitching really well. So, hey, look at the Pirates winning some games lately. Winning some games. And number 22, let's talk the Angels. We got a pretty decent-sized segment here. I'm going to focus on just the Bob Nightingale article. So, let's actually go here to what he had to say about the Angels. So this is going to be a pretty decent-sized segment here. Not too much time, but this one will take a little bit. So he has a part in his article from the USA Today. Where will Ohtani be playing in 2024? So he is saying here that simply teams are now viewing Ohtani as an elite power hitter, and if he can return to pitching in 2025, it'll be a bonus. Why is he mentioning 2025? Because he is mentioning that Ohtani could be considering Tommy John, and it's looking like it could be likely because it says here, Ohtani has yet to publicly declare his intentions, but those familiar with Ohtani's thinking believe that he could shut it down in the next 10 days for the whole season as a hitter as well, and undergo Tommy John surgery to repair his torn UCL. So getting back to that part of the article, he is saying here that teams are now viewing Ohtani as a power hitter, right? Or just an elite hitter in general, which that definitely could. And I've talked about this, and I've even mentioned this prior. I had a feeling even months ago. How will teams view Ohtani from a durability point of view? What do they think of him for the long haul? Where, because you don't know what you're getting with Ohtani. Right now you do. Well, a few months ago, now you know he's hurt, but a few months ago, you knew what you were getting. You're getting a dude that was just dominating on the mound and just slugging homers all over the place. But you didn't know what you're going to be getting down the road. All right. And so I was wondering, everyone's, spitting out like 11-year deals, 10-year deals. I was speculating maybe you see a shorter deal. But I think now that I've taken some time to think about it, my own personal thinking is, yeah, I do think he could end up getting that 10-year deal, maybe 11, because you really, at the end of the day, you're going to be getting a hitter here. Like Babe Ruth, obviously Ohtani has proven to be a better pitcher than Babe Ruth. I mean, obviously these are two different eras, so they're not even comparable. But Ohtani obviously can do a lot of damage with the bat. Could he be Babe Ruth level? I mean, at this point, this guy is just tremendous. Could he get to maybe some numbers in that stratosphere? I don't know, maybe. Probably not. But I'm just saying Ohtani is that good. I think this guy can end up going down as one of the best hitters of all time. So my thinking here is, yes, you can sign him to a long-term deal as a hitter, but I think it's going to be very incentive heavy when it comes to the pitching. And he mentions this to where it could affect his starting contract or the base of the contract, right? He does say here, if the contract bids stay under $500 million, the Angels like their chances. If it goes over 100 or 500 million, he says here the Dodgers, Giants, Padres, and perhaps the Mariners are the strongest contenders to swoop in. So it's going to be very interesting with Ohtani and his contract. He's looking to get more than Mike Trout did, $430 million. I mean, why couldn't he? Why couldn't he get that much? Maybe do like a 440. And then you just slap some incentives on there every time he or slap some options on there and incentives if he gets to a certain innings, mark each year. I think it's very possible. Very possible. That's pretty much the big news on Ohtani. As for the Angels themselves, they had a very busy week, right? We had the waiver deadline. Well, not the waiver. I keep calling it the waiver deadline. More the playoff contention deadline, where you could still waive players, but if you pick one up now, they're not going to be eligible for the postseason roster. So I guess I sort of still call it the waiver deadline. But they waived Giolito, Renfroe, Reynaldo Lopez, Matt Moore, pretty much just came out and said, by doing that, saying, yeah, we messed up at the deadline. Yeah, we made the wrong move. So It's just pretty crazy how this Angels season went. I do think at the end of the day, I don't think things are going to get better for the Angels until Artie Moreno leaves. I think he is bringing that franchise down. I don't think he's helping it at all. I don't think to me, in my opinion, he obviously cares because he's the owner, but I just don't think he is the right guy to be leading that organization. I just don't. I don't know. To me, when you've had all these players, these superstar players in Trout and Ohtani, and you've brought in guys like Rendon who just haven't worked out, and so many other guys that haven't worked out, it's inexcusable. And for me, it starts at the top. Perry Managian, he's doing what he can. I just wonder, is Perry Managian doing the job that he wants to do? I wonder about that. Or is it Artie Moreno telling him, hey, I want things to be done this way, this way, this way? I'd almost love to see what Managian could do without Moreno there. Right, I just think Moreno is completely bringing down that ship. As for this coming off season, Mark Feinsand did mention that the Angels could be strong suitors for Josh Hader. I don't know. It seems like the Angels don't really want to learn from any sort of lessons. They just keep going after free agents. I don't know. On the field, Luis Rengifo, he's been hitting well. And Karen Paris, number 5 prospect on Pipeline, he got called up and he got his first hit this weekend. So that's enough for the Angels. Moving on to number 21. Number 21, we got the Tigers. Hey, look at the Tigers. They're getting some pretty decent pitching. Lately. 7th in starting pitching over the last couple of weeks. Reese Olson, Eduardo Rodriguez, Matt Manning, Tarek Skubal, he pitched well today. They've all been pitching pretty well. Miguel Cabrera had a 4-hit game against the White Sox on Saturday. Look at Miguel Cabrera going out with a bang towards the end of his career. He passed George Brett for 17th all-time on the all-time hits list. Look at Miguel Cabrera. Riley Green going to the IL with elbow inflammation. I do think the Tigers could be a pretty good team next year. That is a wide-open Central. I think the Tigers are going to go out there this offseason. I think they're going to have themselves a pretty decent offseason. I'm just saying. That ends our first tier of players. You know what I'll do? I'll catch up on the Super Chats, and if there's any Super Chats that come in throughout the next round, I will get to those after the next tier. Jimmy Productions, $4.99. I'm not going to lie, but my Nationals deserve to be dropped down to like 25 or 26. Jimmy Productions, you got the crystal ball, my friend. I think you submitted that before I even got to the Nationals because they had a really tough week. But the future is still bright. Yeah, the Nationals looking very good. Very good for the future. And then Jimmy Productions, also Dylan Cruz has been raking. Check the stats, please. Yeah, Dylan Cruz has been off to a very good start. Let's actually go check it out here. Mr. Dylan Cruz. Let's take a look here. What has he been up to? I mean, he's already in Double-A. He's in Double-A. He just got drafted. Hey, look at what he was doing in A-ball. Over 14 games, Dylan Cruz was hitting .355 with a .423 on base, a .645 slugging, 5 homers, 24 RBIs. I think there's a real chance we see Dylan Cruz in the major leagues by next season. I'm not kidding. I think we could see him maybe even by the All-Star break. I mean, if he's in Double-A now, I'm just saying, I mean, we don't got a lot of time left. I think he'll start next year at Double-A. I think you could see him by the All-Star break. I'm just saying. Jimmy Productions, thank you so much for your Super Chat. Let me just make sure. Okay. All righty. We're all caught up on the Super Chats. We're all caught up. Let's get to the next tier of the power rankings. Let's get to it here. Here we go. All righty. Coming in at number 20. We got the Yankees. Oh, my goodness. It's amazing what playing some younger players can do for you. It's amazing. Isn't it amazing? And the Yankees, for so long, I mean, just sitting on their hands, and they play guys like Jake Bowers, Josh Donaldson, whoever the heck else, who are the other guys that they've been playing? Donaldson, I mean, Gary Sanchez they were hanging on to for so long in that lineup. Aaron Hicks for so long. It's like these guys are just playing horribly. and they just wouldn't do anything. And it's amazing when you put the young guys in and they just start winning games. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Let's actually check out tonight's game. Oh, that's the Twins and the Rangers. Let's actually go to the Astros and the Yankees. I'm going to try and start implementing these live scores into the shows. And the Yankees getting the win here earlier today, sorry. Look at Jason Dominguez. Another home run for Jason Dominguez tonight. Gleyber Torres with a couple of hits. Look at Austin Wells with a hit and an RBI. Oh, look at Volpe with a hit today. Scoring a run today. Look at Cabrera at the bottom of the line. I'm just saying here. Pereira, well, yeah, I went 0 for 4. Peraza had an RBI today. Look at the young guys contributing for the Yankees. Listen, I'll tell you this right now. I won't be surprised if the Yankees end up having a really good month. Maybe they'll end up missing, not maybe. They will probably end up missing the playoffs. But I could see them having a good month, right? A good finish to the year to give them some good feelings heading into next season. It's amazing that the Yankees have just... Listen, I understand also. Dominguez, he wasn't looking his best down in the minors at one point until recently over the last month. So, yeah, Dominguez, he's not what he, was a couple of months ago. He's definitely better now. But, Wells, he's up now. Cabrera, you got Pereira. I mean, come on. You got the young guys in, Peraza's too. This is what the Yankees need to do. And this is another thing, Yankee fans, hear me out here, because I was kind of thinking back, what made the Yankees great? What made the Yankees great in 98 to 2000, when they won those 3 World Series, making it to the World Series in 2001? They were this close to winning 4 straight World Series. Think about that. 4 straight World Series. They were that close, right? Absolute, just one of the best dynasties of all time. But you think back to that Yankee team. Think of the guys they had up the middle, right? Guys that came up through their system. Derek Jeter, shortstop, right? Jorge Posada at catcher. Bernie Williams, center field. Those are the pieces up the middle. Remember, you had Chuck Knobloch as well at second base. I don't think Chuck Knobloch was he a homegrown guy for the Yankees? I'm going blank on that. Chuck Knobloch. Well, they had Chuck Knobloch there for, 3-4 years? 5 years? I don't think he was... No, he was drafted by the Phillies, and then he was drafted by the Twins. So then he ended up going to the Yankees down the road. But he was with the Yankees from 98 to 2001. All right, he was their second baseman there, for 4 years. So when you have just a good up the middle, right, a consistent up the middle with homegrown talent, and then you bring in other guys, that to me, you need to have that core, right, of the homegrown guys. And then you add little pieces along with them, right? Add maybe a big piece along with those guys, I'm just saying, man, and this is what the Yankees need to do. And they're finally just doing it, right? Get into that next wave. I'm just saying. Yeah, clone 11398. I forgot about Chuck Knobloch with the yips, man. That was rough. But Knobloch had a pretty good bat. Let's get back to it here. But the Yankees, hey, sweeping the Astros. What else is there to say? I basically said all of it. But when remember we talked about the waivers earlier this week on the live show on Thursday night. Bader going to the Reds. Donaldson got released. And like I said, bringing up the prospects. So the Yankees, this is exactly what they needed to do. At number 19, we got the Padres. And listen, everyone. Listen. Let's go take a look at the standings. Where are my standings? Where's my button for my standings? I don't got my button for my standings. Looking at the wild card, listen, I'm just saying the Padres are 5.5 out. I know it's not looking very great, but they are 5.5 out. They got a few more against the Giants. They got a series against the Rockies, against the A's. Who are the other teams they got going up against them? Let me pull this up here because I tweeted it out earlier. I'm going blank. But they have a pretty easy schedule ahead. Let me pull this up here. They got 3 more against the A's, 3 more against the Rockies, 3 more against the White Sox, and 3 more against the Cardinals. They got 12 games against some pretty rough teams. When I say rough, I mean bottom of the barrel. And then you got 3 more against the Giants, who are right now tied for the 3rd wild card. I'm just saying. Yeah, they got a couple of tough matchups as well. They got the Phillies coming up this week. They got the Dodgers as well. Yeah, they got a couple of tough matchups there. If they can find a way to win those series, and then they got these easier matchups as well, I know it's probably not likely. But the Padres are not dead. I am not counting those Padres out because they just got the win today, winning 3 out of 4 against the Giants. They did, I mentioned the Cardinals. They did lose 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals this week, so that's not exactly a slam dunk, I'm just saying. But the White Sox, the Rockies, the A's, you should win at least 2 out of 3 against those teams. Let's see if maybe they can bounce back against the Cardinals. Do they? I think they have one more series. Yeah, they have one more series against the Cardinals. Anyway, Padres are not dead yet. They're probably dead, but they're not dead yet. That's all I'm trying to say. Blake Snell, though. Blake Snell, future Red Sox. I'm just saying. Blake Snell on the Red Sox sounds amazing. He's been awesome. 0 earned runs in his last 2 starts, 17 strikeouts. Blake Snell, man, he's having himself a year. Yu Darvish, though, finding out this past week, he's got some bone spurs in his elbow, which he actually said was a bit of a relief, knowing that it's not going to be anything with Tommy John or anything like that. So he's probably going to be out for the rest of this year, but that could be something that he can end up bouncing back from pretty quick. Juan Soto, he's been hitting really well. 320, 452, 560 with the slash line. 2 homers over the last 7. If the Padres are to end up falling out of it, which very good chance they will, let's actually go to the Fangraphs playoff odds. Let's see what Fangraphs gives the Padres to make the playoffs. A 1.8% chance. I'm not giving up on them just yet, but a 1.8% chance. It's pretty much over, but I'm not saying it's over until the fat lady sings. I'm just saying. But yeah, not a very good chance for the Padres, according to Fangraphs, to make the playoffs. So if this does end up being the case, Bob Nightingale had a lot to report for this week. But he says that AJ Preller, ownership loves him. He's probably not going anywhere. However, the guy that could take the fall could be Bob Melvin, right? I actually wonder if that could end up being a good move. I did like when they brought in Bob Melvin. I thought that was a guy they needed at the right time. It was like kind of the right time, the right place kind of a move where, they needed a little bit more stability at the manager position. However, obviously, this season has not worked out the way it's supposed to. But they have had a guy there for a little while by the name of Ryan Flaherty, former player. I wonder if someone like Ryan Flaherty could end up, he is the current bench coach. I wonder if he could end up being the next right guy at the right time, right? Someone that maybe the players could connect with a little bit more. Listen, I think Bob Melvin is a pretty good manager. I think there is some sort of a disconnect in that clubhouse. I think the Padres, to be honest with you, Padres fans, let me know what you think in the chat. Do you think the Padres need a manager that's going to hold the Padres players a little bit more accountable? I wonder if Bob Melvin is that guy. You know what I mean? They got a lot of egos on that team. They got a lot of fat contracts on that team. Do they need someone that's going to say, take a look at Fernando Tatis Jr. and say, hey, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Why aren't you reading your scouting reports? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing this? Manny Machado, what are you doing? Come on, man. Why are you flipping out all the time? Why are you giving up all this bad energy? I'm just saying. Other guys, who knows who else? But I feel like they need someone that's going to hold these players a little bit more accountable. And could Ryan Flaherty be that guy? I think so. I think, former player, that guy, he knows. He played recently. I'm just saying. I think Ryan Flaherty could end up being a decent choice. Moving on here. But let's see how the Padres end up doing. Again, they're not dead yet. They're probably dead, but they're not dead yet. At number 18, we got a team on the rise. I can't believe it. The Guardians are actually moving up a little bit. Moving up a little bit. Who would have thought? I thought the Guardians were going to be in the number 21 spot for the whole year. But the Guardians are playing some pretty decent baseball lately. They won 2 out of 3 against the Twins and the Rays. Offense has been a little better lately. 15th in offense over the last 7. Arias, Cole Calhoun is hitting pretty well. Bo Naylor, Stephen Kwan hitting well. Stephen Kwan tied the game on Saturday night. Ended up walking it off with a sac fly. Just saying. Man, oh man. Starting pitching, it's been a little up and down. Xavier Curry looked pretty good today. Bybee, Quantrill, they've been okay lately. Gavin Williams, he's been going through a knee issue. He should be back for this week from that. And Lucas Giolito, he should be making his debut, I think, tomorrow. We got a big series for the Guardians coming up. Big series for the Guardians coming up. Let's actually pull up their schedule. Listen, the Guardians, they're kind of going through this like a last gasp kind of a thing, right? They made the waiver claims on Giolito, right? Lopez. But, hey, you got 3 against the Twins at home this week, right? And that's going to be your last chance against the Twins. So, if we were to go check out the standings, I wish I had my button set here. Let's go back to the standings. Here we go. We don't want the NL wild card. We want the AL Central. Cleveland's 5 back. They got 3 against the Twins this week. If they could sweep the Twins, oh, man. I'm just saying. We could have ourselves a division race. We have seen this kind of a division race before, right? Where it comes down in the Central, where it comes down to the last weekend of the season. I'm not counting Cleveland out just yet. We'll see how it is after this series, but they could definitely make up some ground here. They got one shot to make up ground. Here we go. Let's get back to it. At number 17, we got the Cincinnati Reds. Splitting with the Cubs this week, losing 2 out of 3 to the Giants this week. They are a half game back in the wild, or actually, hold on a second. Let me go back to the standings. They are now tied, right? So that the way the other games worked out today, the Reds are now tied for that 3rd wild card. That is crazy. We got 4 teams just having a cage match for the 3rd wild card spot. That is awesome. We got the D-backs. We got the Marlins. We got the Giants. We got the Reds tied for the 3rd wild card. You got to love it. And then who knows? Could the Padres make up some ground? Could have 5 teams battling it out for the 3rd wild card? Please give me that. Moving on. Here we go. Back to the Reds. Listen, with the Reds, their offense really needs to pick it up. Man, 30th in offense in the last 7 games. Starting pitching, they gave up 15 runs today against the Cubs. Well, not the starting pitching, just the pitching in general. They were 18th in starting pitching over the last couple of weeks. Bullpen ranked 5th coming into today. And then the bullpen just gave up an absolute doozy today. I mean, let's actually just go pull up here. Let's go pull up the game. I mean, I got the game right here. Let's get rid of the Astros and the Yankees. Look at the Cubs and the Reds today. 15-7. The Reds just getting their freaking roof blown off. Cubs came into town and just destroyed them. And I'm just saying, man, the Reds, they're pitching no bueno today. Spires, he started the game. He gave up 3 earned in 4 innings. And then the bullpen ended up giving up 12 more runs. So, but for the Reds, they got the Mariners and they got the Cardinals coming up this week. Moving on to number 16. We got the Marlins. The Marlins, they're kicking it into gear a little bit. We just saw they're tied for that 3rd wild card. They did lose 2 to the Rays, but then they swept the Nationals in 4. 12th in offense over the last 7. Luis Arraez, Jazz Chisholm, De La Cruz. They've been hitting pretty well lately. That Marlins offense has got to get it going. They were slumping there for a little while. Starting pitching has also got to get it going. Except for Jesus Luzardo. Wow, he looked really good against the Rays this week. 6 shutout innings, 1 hit, 8 Ks against the Rays. Ended up losing the game, but Luzardo looked really good. They got the Dodgers and the Phillies this week. A tough week for the Marlins. Could this end up being the week? Maybe the Marlins fall out of it. They got a tough matchup. A couple of tough matchups this week. Alrighty, everyone. We're halfway through, and I think this is a good time to go over tonight's sponsor, and that is Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy. The link is in the description down below. The code is HYDE. You get a double on your first deposit up to $100. Not bad if you ask me. I actually did do a draft today in Underdog Fantasy. You can do daily drafts. You can do daily pick'ems. You got football coming up too. Listen, everyone, football is right around the corner. Underdog, they're very big on football. You can do pick'ems. Pick'ems, I feel like, tend to be the more fun thing to do when it comes to Underdog. I do like the drafts. I've been actually having a lot of fun with the drafts, but obviously you can do those with Major League Baseball. But listen, I know we are a baseball channel here, but you got football starting back up. You got the Tigers. You got the Chiefs. Did I just say the Tigers? Oh, man, I just saw Detroit, and I just said the Tigers. The Lions. The Detroit Lions against the Chiefs. I'm just saying, that's a pretty decent matchup. And so, hey, go check it out. There's a lot of over-unders that you can do. Jared Goff, he's the top one here. Is he going to get higher than 17.95 fantasy points? Is he going to get more than 258.5 passing yards? Is he going to get more than 1.5 passing touchdowns, 3.5 rushing yards? There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can play pick'em. But I have been enjoying the drafts. Did win myself a few bucks on the drafts last week. You can do $3 drafts, $5, $10, $15, $50 if you want to go for the big bucks. You can go drop those big bucks. But go check it out, everyone. Link is in the description. Code is HYDE. You get a double on your first deposit. It really helps support the channel. Really trying to get the numbers looking good for Underdog. And hey, the better we can make the numbers look, better chance we can end up signing maybe a long-term deal with Underdog possibly down the road. And my dream is to do this channel full-time. That is impossible to do without a sponsor. I'm sorry to say it. But yeah, check out Underdog. It's a lot of fun. Here we go. Back to it. And also, real quick, where are we at with the likes? Are we at 100? Did we make it to 100? We're at 55, everyone. If you could help us get to 100 likes, I will love you forever. Subscribe if you're new. And speaking of subscribe, thank you to the new subscribers that joined from my latest video. Just posted a video this weekend, the best waiver deadline trades of all time. Go check that out if you haven't already. Here we go. Back to the power rankings. At number 15, we got my Red Sox. I saw someone in the chat. I don't know if you're still here or not. Someone in the chat before the show, he was bringing up when I talked about the Red Sox for like 20 minutes a few weeks ago. I will once again say, didn't even realize I was talking about the Red Sox that long. That's just how much of a Red Sox nutcase I am. I'm just saying. But we will keep it short and sweet. I've been doing that for the last couple of weeks. Red Sox winning 2 out of 3 against the Royals this weekend. They got swept by the Astros earlier in the week. Tristan Casas, he's been the hot guy lately for the Red Sox. Again, he's had a few hot streaks this year. Casas is looking amazing. Over his last 7 games, Casas... Hold on one second. There we go. Casas hitting .478 with a .571 on base, a .913 slugging, 2 homers, 6 RBIs. Casas, man, could he end up being in the running for the Rookie of the Year? He got off to that really slow start that I think really brought his numbers down. But I think Casas is definitely going to be in the mix. Speaking of being in the mix, earlier we mentioned here when we were talking about the Mets. Hold on one second. We mentioned here that rumors persist that the Red Sox could be in the mix for David Stearns. I don't know about this. I personally don't think this is going to happen. I just don't. I think Chaim Bloom is the guy. They brought in Chaim. If you go back years ago, right? John Henry, they even did this in the Moneyball movie. I know you all know the Moneyball movie, where they wanted Billy Beane, right? They were going to offer him like the biggest contract of all time for an executive. They wanted that guy. They ended up going with Theo Epstein. Theo Epstein was, very, very good general manager, right? Ended up leaving. But I feel like Theo wasn't fully that guy that John Henry envisioned having. Like an analytical guy who spent very little money. Listen, say what you want about ownership, but that is an owner's dream, to spend as little money as possible, but putting a good product on the field every year. Say what you will about winning every year and whatever, but that is an owner's dream. At the end of the day, it's just facts, right? That's what an owner wants, to spend as little money as possible, but to be able to put a good product on the field, right? And that is what Billy Beane brought to the table years ago. Chaim Bloom, I think, fits more of that profile than Theo Epstein did. Theo Epstein definitely had a bit of that in him, but I think Chaim Bloom is that guy. So I don't see them parting with him. I just don't. They've given him the time to rebuild the farm. That's exactly what he's done. I think they will give him a chance to show that you can put a winning team on the field. Say what you will, but the Red Sox are better than they were from last year. I mean, whatever. Red Sox fans can complain all they want, but it is what it is. They are better from last year. So they're just not there yet. So I think they're going to keep Bloom. I don't think David Stearns is going to be a guy they go after. I'm very surprised that they're in the mix. I will be shocked, absolutely shocked, if they move on from Chaim Bloom and go after David Stearns. I will be shocked. I don't know. I'm just saying. Adam Duvall, on the other hand, he says he wants to stay in Boston, says he loves Boston. I'd be completely okay with bringing back Adam Duvall. He had an absolute tank today against the Royals. Let's see what they end up doing with that. Moving on, number 14. We got the Giants. They moved down a couple of spots here. Up and down week for the Giants here, losing 3 out of 4 to the Padres. They did win their series against the Reds. But their offense lately, it's not been amazing. Starting pitching has been pretty good, though. They're like as we just saw, they're tied for the 3rd wild card spot. The big story of the week was Alex Cobb, 1 out away from a no-hitter. I don't know if anyone remembers this. I've talked about this on this stream before. I tweeted this out as well. Speaking of tweeting, go follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. Go check me out on there. I'm just talking. I'm using my potato brain to come up with whatever I can and just post it on Twitter. But I watched Alex Cobb back in my junior year of high school. I watched Alex Cobb in person pitch against my high school. And that was the most scouts I had ever seen. I was like, wow, there's a lot of people at this game. I think about half of those people were scouts. I'm not even kidding. Alex Cobb, he was a fourth-round pick, I believe, back then. And he was definitely an arm that a lot of people were looking at. So I got to watch Alex Cobb in person throw a one-hitter as a senior in high school. And here he is 17 years later throwing a one-hitter in the major leagues. I'm just saying. But for the Giants, just kind of up and down this week. Pitching has been pretty good. Kyle Harrison got lit up the other day, so he needs to get it together. The Giants just need to get it together. They got the Cubs this week. That's going to be a big series with the Cubs. Wild card. A lot of implications for the wild card there. They got the Rockies as well. Speaking of the wild card, we got the Diamondbacks at number 13. They got swept by the Dodgers, losing. Actually, let me just double check here. Let me see here. How did that game end up finishing today with the Orioles? Hold on one second. Okay, so they ended up losing today. So I'm guessing Gallen did not pitch very well. I did not see the final of this one. I was checking on it in the early going. The Orioles, I remember, were up 2-0. Okay, so they ended up scoring a couple more there. Yeah, Gallen, ERA up to a 3.48. Yeah, Diamondbacks are going through it a little bit. They got hot there for a little bit, and now they're cold again. They're 20th in WRC plus over the last 7. Gurriel Jr. is hitting okay, but not much else. Christian Walker homered today. Gurriel Jr. actually homered today as well. Gallen, again, not a great start for him today. And the pitching itself hasn't been amazing over the last couple of weeks. They're 22nd in ERA, 14th in FIP, 9th in XFIP. So that is a good sign for the Diamondbacks. So maybe. I don't know. But they got to get it together with the pitching. Bullpen has been pretty meh. 20th overall in the last couple of weeks. They do got the Rockies this week. And they also have the Cubs. So moving on here. Falling out of the top 10. Falling out of the top 10. We have an alert. If I had a noise to do it, I would be going, woo, 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 woo. Here we go. Number 12. Falling out of the top 10. We got the Rangers. I can't believe it. Wow, the Rangers are playing bad. They are not playing great, man. They did win today. And we can actually go check out the scores. Here we go. I got the Rangers Twins. And, they won today. They found a way to win it. Seager had a good game. Garver had a heck of a game today. Goodness gracious. Couple of home runs for him. Garver just going off. Tavares at the bottom of the order, hitting pretty well. But when it comes to over the last couple of weeks, the Rangers have just been awful. Goodness gracious. They won 2 out of 3 against the Mets, but then they dropped the series to the Twins overall. They're 4-12 in their last 16. The offense only ranks 26 over the last week. Starting pitching is 14th overall in the last week, but, it's middle of the road. Scherzer actually pulled himself out against the Twins because he felt forearm tightness. He said he doesn't think it's a lot to be concerned about, but he was just kind of taking it easy as a precaution. But the bullpen is awful. 30th in relief pitching over the last 7 games. Chapman with another bad outing this weekend. His second blown save in his last 6 outings. He has 5 blown saves this season. Chapman, you know what Chapman reminds me of? I tweeted this out today. Aroldis Chapman, he gives me 2007 Eric Gagne vibes. And speaking of the Rangers, remember, Eric Gagne, he was so good with the Dodgers there. He kind of was starting to sort of tail off a little bit. And then he went to the Rangers, and he was pitching really well for them in the first half that year. The Red Sox were playing really well that year. They traded for him, and then they had a bullpen of Papelbon, Gagne, Hideki Okajima. The bullpen was awesome. And you got Gagne too, and we're like, oh my goodness. And then Gagne was horrible for the Red Sox down the stretch. Chapman, it's like the same thing. Chapman was really good for the Royals in the early going after a few tough seasons with the Yankees. A dominant closer. And then, he goes to the Royals this year and he's doing well, and then he goes to the Rangers and it's like he just completely falls apart. It's the same thing. He is Eric Gagne of 2007. I'm just saying. But the Rangers really got to get it together. If we're to take a look at the schedule for the am I saying the Royals? Or am I saying, I don't even know what I'm saying. The Rangers got to get it together. And this coming week, the Rangers have, it feels like every matchup is important, but they got the Astros for 3. That's huge because when you're looking at the standings, we're looking at the West. Right now, that's the NL West. Let's look at the AL West. The Rangers right now and the Astros are a game out. So this is going to be a massive series with the Astros and the Rangers. You got the Mariners out in front, sitting alone in first. But this is a big matchup. Let's actually go take a look at the pitching matchups for this series coming up. Definitely going to be one of the big series this week. Hold on one second. Let's pull up the Rangers. Here we go. Looking at the matchups this week. All right, so we got, for the Rangers, you got Heaney, Eovaldi, and... Ooh! Hey! Everyone! Oh! We got Scherzer and Verlander going against each other on Wednesday. Oh, man, look at that. Scherzer and Verlander. That's awesome. This feels like a playoff series. This is going to be a big one. So, here we go. Moving back to the power rankings. And, yeah, they got to get it together. They got the A's later this week. So, that's going to be helpful. We'll see. But the Rangers have now fallen out of my top 10. At number 11, we got the Twins knocking on the door for the top 10. The Twins are actually playing a little better over the last couple of weeks overall. They did lose 2 out of 3 to Cleveland, but then they won their series with the Rangers this weekend. So, but... the Twins, they're playing better over the last couple of weeks, but it's still not, because they were running into a couple of rough stretches there, the Twins. They just can't seem to get it going. But overall, 11th in offense over the last 7. Solano is hot. He went 4 for 5 on Saturday. Polanco, Lewis, they're hitting well. So they're getting some contributions from the offense. The starting pitching, though, is a bit up and down. Sonny Gray looked really good against the Guardians. 7 innings, 3 hits. Joe Ryan, he looked good against the Rangers. 6 innings, 7 strikeouts. However, Pablo Lopez, Kenta Maeda, Keuchel, they've been pretty meh. I've used that word a couple of times tonight, but that's just the word I'm feeling tonight. Pretty meh. And for this week, the Twins... We mentioned earlier, big matchup against the Guardians. That's the Guardians' last chance for this division. They need to sweep this series. The Guardians, if they want any hope of getting into the playoffs, they got to win this series. And they also got the Mets this week. So the Twins, overall, playing okay. An up and down week for the Twins, though. Moving on to the top 10. Everyone, before I dive into the top 10, hit that like button for me. The goal for likes was 100 tonight. We're at 74 likes, everyone. If you could help us get to 100 likes, that would be amazing. Subscribe if you're new. Share the show. We're almost at 300 people. I'm guessing we're a little lower on the viewers tonight. My guess is honestly, it's probably my potato of a face. But it's Labor Day weekend. I'm guessing not as busy for tonight. People are traveling. People are doing things. So I'm guessing power rankings is not at the top of their priorities for this weekend. But the show must go on. But help us get to 100 likes, everyone. That would be amazing. Starting off at number 10, a new team at the top 10. We got the Cubs. Cubs fans, are you happy? Are you happy, Cubs fans? I did it. I put the Cubs in the top 10. Here we go. And the Cubs, they're playing good baseball. Winning 2 out of 3 against the Brewers. That was a big series win for them. Keeps them in that division. Probably looking more like a wild card for the Cubs, if anything. But, hey, winning a series against the Brewers, who have been playing great baseball. We'll get to them in just a little bit. Splitting with the Reds over the weekend, scoring 15 runs. We looked at the scoreboard here today. Let's actually go back to that. Let's go back to the Cubs. Let's pull that one out. And we got the Cubs and the Reds. I mean, look at the box score here today. Tauchman, man, 3 for 6. Horner, 2 for 5. Bellinger had himself a day, a home run on the day. Candelario with another home run today. I mean, goodness. Madrigal with a couple of hits. They're just raking. Suzuki with a couple of runs scored. Swanson with a couple of RBIs. Happ, he had 4 RBIs today. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, the Cubs are all over the place today. All over the place. But the Cubs, they've actually been getting some really good starting pitching without Marcus Stroman. I was worried about them losing Marcus Stroman, and that starting pitching has been really stepping up. Steele, Wicks, Assad, pitching really well. Man, oh man. Really love that these guys are stepping up for the Cubs. Big matchups for the Cubs this weekend. Big matchup, or not this weekend, for this week. I cannot find my words. I think that happens a lot. I feel like my brain just goes potato mode a lot. Here we go. But look at this week for the Cubs. This is a massive week. 3 against the Giants. 4 against the D-backs. Man, oh man. This is massive. Then you got the Diamondbacks next week. But the Cubs, they got themselves a decent schedule here over the next couple of weeks because you got wild card opponents. You got an easier Rockies team. You got the Pirates. Listen, and then you got the Brewers to finish off the season. I think the Cubs, this schedule really complements them. I think it really helps them a lot. Gives them a chance for sure. And one more time, let's actually just go double check those standings. And when it comes to the wild card, they're doing fine. They're in that second wild card spot right now. They're 3 ahead, so they're sitting pretty. So right now, they could really distance themselves with these matchups against these wild card opponents. So let's wait and see how this turns out. Here we go. At number 9, Blue Jays at number 9. A good week for the Blue Jays overall, winning 2 out of 3 against the Nationals and the Rockies. If we were to go back to the wild card race, Blue Jays are a game and a half out. Man, oh man. They're still in it. They're still in it. But as for the offense, second in offense, holy cow, Davis Schneider is killing it. Foolish Baseball, a.k.a. Bailey, Foolish Bailey, just did a video, and Schneider is actually on the thumbnail with Babe Ruth. That's how good he's been doing. Schneider, over the last 7 games, hitting .407 with a 1.399 OPS, 6 homers, 16 RBIs. What the heck is going on with Schneider, man? That dude is nuts. That's not the last 7 games. I apologize. That's actually what his numbers are for the whole year. I mean, look at, I'm just going to pull up the numbers. Let's just pull up the numbers. Here we go. Nope, don't want that one. I want this one. Look at Davis Schneider. I mean, are you kidding me? Okay, never mind. These numbers, I got to update. Hitting .397 on the year with a 519 or 514 on base. A 1.359 OPS. No big deal. No big deal. He's got 6 homers on the year. Sorry, not the last 7 games. I apologize. Got my numbers mixed up. 17 RBIs on the year. Over the last 7, he's hitting .360 with a 500 on base and an .840 slugging with 2 homers and 8 RBIs. 6 walks, 5 Ks. You can't stop Davis Schneider. This guy is basically Babe Ruth. CRAZ951, thank you for becoming a member for the 17th straight month. Appreciate you, my friend. But back to it. George Springer has a 984 OPS over his last 7. Starting pitching has been pretty decent for the most part. Hyunjin Ryu, Gosman, Kikuchi pitching well. Bullpen's been pretty solid, 12th overall in relief pitching. Blue Jays are hanging in there. They're still there. This team is talented enough to get a wild card spot, but it's definitely going to be difficult. But speaking of the wild card, a team that's in front of them, we got the Houston Astros at number 8, sweeping my Red Sox this week, making us look foolish. Not like foolish baseball, though, because he's amazing. But getting swept by the Yankees. Wow. The new baby Bombers taking it to the Astros. I'm just saying. But they're one back in the division. However, the offense is looking really good. First in WRC plus over the last 7. Alvarez is hot. 464 average over the last 7. A 583 on base. A 786 slugging. 2 homers. 9 RBIs. Alvarez is hot. Brantley, he homered against the Yankees. He came back. Michael Brantley, remember Michael Brantley? He's back. Starting pitching, though, has been up and down. Framber Valdez, I love Framber Valdez. That's a guy I would want. If I were to build a rotation, I would not. I'm not even kidding. I would put if I had a pick of all of the pitchers in Major League Baseball, I would put Framber Valdez in that rotation. I don't know, man. I just love that guy. That guy's so good. I'm just saying. 6 innings, 2 earned, 5 Ks against the Red Sox. Verlander got roughed up, though, against the Yankees. Jason Dominguez taking him deep. 8 hits allowed, 6 earned. Hunter Brown, his second half struggles continue. 4+ innings in his last start, 5 earned. We just mentioned big matchup with the Rangers this week and the Padres. That's going to be a big matchup for the Padres. So, at number 7, we got the Phillies. Man, oh man. An up and down week for the Phillies. Losing their series to the Brewers this week. Did win 2 out of 3 against the Angels. Their offense is doing really well. 5th in offense over the last 7. Trey Turner is red hot, hitting .407, a 433 on base, a 1.185 OPS overall in the last 7 games. 6 homers, 14 RBIs. Trey Turner is out of his mind lately. Absolutely add him on any sort of daily fantasy. I'm just saying, that guy's hot. Harper, Schwarber, they're hitting well. Starting pitching, they are first overall in the last couple of weeks, but Nola went back to bad Nola. Good Nola was there for a little while, but now he's back to being bad Nola again. 7 earned against the Brewers, 4 2/3 innings. Zach Wheeler looked good against the Brewers. He gave up 3 earned, 10 strikeouts. But the Phillies, an inconsistent week. And in front of them, I can't believe I have moved the Brewers to number 6. I cannot believe it. Man, oh man, the Brewers are playing great baseball. I mean, what else there to say? The Brewers are just going crazy right now. I mean, man, the Cubs got hot there for a little bit, and now the Brewers, well, they also stayed hot, right? They kept the Cubs at bay. I'm just saying, they're 7-3 in their last 10. I mean, the Brewers did lose today. However, the Brewers are finally putting it together. The one thing I did like about the Brewers all year, they ranked horribly offensively. The starting pitching wasn't anything amazing. The bullpen wasn't even anything amazing. They had good pieces. Like, they had a couple of good pieces in the lineup, a couple of good pieces in the rotation, a couple of good pieces in the bullpen. But overall, the team didn't look really great. But they are putting it together lately. However, the one thing that looked really good with the Brewers, I've been saying this every week, a very good fundamental team. Very good defensively. One of the best defensive teams in baseball. So the Brewers, they play that just good, solid baseball. You know, so I'll give them that. Over the last 7 games, they're still middle of the road when it comes to the offense. 17th in offense over the last 7. William Contreras, Mark Canha, they've been hitting really well. Starting pitching, a 3.84 ERA over the last 2 weeks. The FIP is a 4.79 overall, though. So keep an eye out for that. Freddie Peralta, NL Pitcher of the Month, Freddie Peralta. I've been going crazy over this guy over the last few streams. He's been striking guys out left and right. We got to pull up Freddie Peralta one more time. I mean, my goodness, what a month for Freddie Peralta. We got to go look at the numbers since he just got Pitcher of the Month. I mean, look at these numbers with Peralta here. Over the last let's go. Actually, let me go here. Let's go to the game logs because they break it down month by month. In August, look at the numbers for August for Freddie Peralta. 5-0 over 5 starts, a 2.10 ERA, 46 strikeouts over 30 innings. Freddie Peralta, he's on another level right now. He had the start a couple of days ago against the Phillies, striking out 10. Freddie Peralta right now is the ace of that staff. I mean, I know we all like to say Corbin Burns, but Freddie Peralta is their guy right now. Corbin Burns, he's been fine this year. I will say this about Corbin Burns, though. Corbin Burns is not the same guy that he was last year. I'm just going to point that out. Actually, you know what I want to do? Everyone, did anyone notice this? Did anyone notice this about Baseball Savant? They updated their site. Let's actually go. Let me pull up Corbin Burns. They have a new look. Look at the new look of Baseball Savant. Well, at least it's how it is on my phone. Okay, it is on this too. But when it comes to Corbin Burns, right, you are still seeing a lot of reds, right? However, in 2022, there was more red overall. But if you look in 2023, a lot of it has gone down. So, I'm just saying, he's still good, right? But he was better last year. In 2021, this dude was off the charts. And every year, his advanced numbers have been going down. So, I'm just saying. I mean, if you look at the exit velocity, he's still in the top 10%, right? Actually, he's actually doing better when it comes to exit velocity, right? So, but just a lot of the other expected numbers are down. You know, the chase rate's down, the whiff percentage is down. You know, let me look at barrels. So actually, no, he's actually getting less contact or less hard contact this year. It's just all the other things, like the velocity's down this year, at least on, based off of where it ranks. But his velocity has dropped a little bit. So, Corbin Burns, I wonder what the Brewers will do with him in the offseason. However, back to the point here is Peralta right now, if I'm going game 1, I mean, I think you have to go Corbin Burns because it's Corbin Burns. But, man, I think you got to be looking at Peralta and being like, man, you're looking like a game 1 starter. I think it'll end up being Corbin Burns game 1, Peralta game 2, personally. Just, Corbin Burns has been their guy. So, anyway, the Brewers, they're playing really good baseball lately. Bullpen over the last couple of weeks is 5-1, a 2.75 ERA. Can the Brewers make it into the top 5? Maybe. Let's see. Up next, we got the Rays. Starting off the top 5, we got the Rays at number 5. Did lose 2 out of 3 to the Guardians this weekend, but they won both against the Marlins. So an up and down week for the Rays. So they stay at number 5 for me. Or actually, I don't remember where they were last week. Where were the Rays last week? I can actually find that. Okay, they stay at 5. I had the Rays at 5 last week. But their offense has been pretty good lately. 8th in offense over the last week. Arozarena hitting well, a 918 OPS over the last 7 games, 5 RBIs as well. Starting pitching overall has been pretty solid. 8th in starting pitching over the last couple of weeks. Tyler Glasnow, Zach Eflin, they're pitching well. Glasnow, he had 3 earned over 7 against Cleveland, took the L. He had no run support. Zach Eflin, 6 1/3, 0 earned runs, no decision his last start. They did call back up Taj Bradley. Aaron Savali getting the start tomorrow against my Red Sox. a game that I will be going to. I'm quite excited. Best bullpen over the last couple of weeks, a 2.52 ERA, a 2.42 FIP. Jason Adam, though, going to the IL with an oblique strain. Like I said, you got the Red Sox this week and the Mariners. The Rays and the Mariners going head-to-head this week. That should be a fun one. At number 4, the Dodgers. They got off to a good start this week, and then they ran into the best team in baseball, the Atlanta Braves. So the Dodgers, they do fall down a spot from last week. Let me actually double check. I had the Dodgers in the 3 spot last week. Now they drop down to number 4. And, overall for the Dodgers, good offense. Third in offense over the last 7 games. Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Jason Hayward have actually been hitting pretty well. 29th in starting pitching over the last 14 games. Is not helping at all. Urias is going through a bad stretch, man. You got Urias as a free agent. His advanced numbers are not looking good this year. 11 earned over his last couple of starts against the Braves and my Red Sox. Lynn got pounded by the Braves. Lance Lynn was looking pretty good there for a little bit, but he got wrecked. 7 earned, 4 1/3 against the Braves. The Dodgers, they got an easier week. They got, the Marlins, they're playing better baseball, so let's see how that goes. And they got the Nationals. But the Dodgers, hey, they lost a heartbreaker on Saturday. That was a good one till Orlando Arcia came up and ruined all their hopes and dreams. They did get the win today, though. Let's actually pull that up. Let's pull that up. Let's go to the Dodgers and the Braves. So for the Dodgers today, winning 3-1. Like I said, Hayward has been hot. 1 for 4 today, 2 runs scored. Outman, Rojas, they contributed at the bottom of the order. Betts had an RBI today. He scored 3 runs as well. But overall, the Dodgers getting some good pitching today, holding the Braves at bay. And in the end, the Braves winning the series, though. So, moving on to number 3. What is wrong with my button? Why is my button not working? Oh, here we go. The Orioles, they climb back up a spot. Good week for the Orioles, winning their series against the White Sox and the D-backs. Offense has been pretty good lately. 10th in offense over the last 7. Santander, though, he got hit by a pitch on his hand day to day. Colton Cowser got called up. So, hey, Colton Cowser. Look at the Orioles calling up all these guys. I'm just saying. Jorge Lopez brought back on a waiver claim. Look at Jorge Lopez going back to the Orioles. Hey, if they can get him back to what they were doing before, with what he was doing before, I'm just saying, man. 6 in starting pitching over the last 14. Bradish had a really good start against the D-backs. Man, oh man. Kramer looked really good against the White Sox. They got the Angels and the Red Sox this week. The Orioles looking pretty good. Good week for the Orioles. At number 2, I shocked a lot of people. I upset a lot of people last week, putting the Mariners at number 2. And I'm going to stand by it. The Mariners, man. Listen, I'm a Mariners fan. I'm just saying, they're looking good. I'm seeing a lot of people, Ozzy in the chat, Mariners at number 2 is a joke. A lot of haters for the Mariners at number 2. Haters. Look at the haters. Do you smell that? Oh, do you smell the hate out there? Oh, it's juicy. It smells delicious. The Mariners at number 2. I'm just saying, they're looking good. They're just staying at what they've been. They're no worse than at all. Like, they're just playing great baseball, winning a couple of more series this week. 7th in offense over the last 7. I mean, Hunter Williams, as a Mariners fan, I think we should be lower. I don't know, man. They rank extremely well in the offense. They rank extremely well in starting pitching. They rank extremely well with the bullpen. And I'm not just going off of what they've been doing for the last couple of weeks. Look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. They're playing great baseball. I'm just saying. I mean, you want me to just go look at some numbers here? Let's go look at some numbers. Robert C4. Robbie hates the Dodgers. I don't know, man. I don't know where these accusations are coming from. I'm just saying. Let's look at the Mariners. 5th in WRC plus. 5th in WRC plus on the year. That's the whole year. Remember, the offense was pretty middle of the road. 5th in offense on the year. Let's go to the pitching. How about FIP? Let's go look at FIP. You all know I prefer FIP. Oh, what do you know? The Mariners, number 1 in FIP on the whole year. Oh, hold on. I'm not sharing the screen. Hold on. I'm going to share it with all of you. Number 1 in FIP over the whole year. 3.72. Let's look at the Fangraph WAR. They're number 2 in Fangraph WAR. They're the best team in the American League when it comes to pitching. I mean, I'm just saying, man. Let's even look at it a little more closer. Let's go to the starting pitching. Number 2 in starting pitching on the year. Let's go to the bullpens. Number 2. They have the second best bullpen. They have the second best starting rotation. I don't know. What else do you need? Let's go back to the offense. You didn't see that earlier. Let's go to the WRC plus. They're 5th overall. They could do a little bit better in the base running. That brings their overall offense down. But they are 5th with the bats. How about fielding? How do they do in the field? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Top 10 when it comes to the fielding. 20 defensive runs saved. I don't know what else to tell you. What else? I don't know what else you need. You need more numbers? Or maybe we need to look in the mirror, and I think you need to just accept the fact that the Mariners, they're just good. I think you need to look in the mirror, everyone. I'm just saying. They're good. But let's get back to breaking this down. In the last couple of weeks, they're 4th in starting pitching. George Kirby. He pitched against the Mets today. Let's actually pull up the box score there. Nope, not MLB trade rumors. That's the wrong site. There we go. So the Mets did get the win today, and I think that's probably why a lot of people are saying, no, you can't put the Mariners this high. They lost to the Mets. Well, they won the series. I'm just saying. So, yeah, Kirby did get the loss today, but overall, ERA still looks really good on the year. Let's pull this up here. Not a great start for Kirby today. 3 innings. Got up to 73 pitches. So the Mets, they definitely took him to town a little bit today. But the bullpen, not amazing. Whatever. I'm not really worried about the Mariners. J.P. Crawford coming up big for the Mariners this weekend. I'm just saying. But Brian Wu, Logan Gilbert pitching really well. Bullpen looking great over the last couple of weeks. They got the Reds and they got the Rays this week. So, Mariners fans, Mariners haters, I'm sticking with them at number 2. I'm sticking with the number 2. And at number 1, who else would it be? The Atlanta Braves. They swept the Rockies this week, winning 3 out of 4 against the Dodgers this week. Obviously, the talk of the town is Ronald Acuna Jr. He made his own club, 30-60 club, 30 homers, 60 stolen bases. He's red hot. Over the last 7 games, hitting .406, a .457 on base, an .844 slugging, 4 homers, 11 RBIs. I think Ronald Acuna Jr. has pretty much ended the MVP debate. We got time. Let's see how they finish. But Acuna is a madman right now. I think this is his MVP. It feels like it. Like last year, it felt like Judge. And then people were all like, no, it's Ohtani. You had the Ohtani people out there. And I'm like, no, it's Judge. He had the numbers, but he has the story as well. This is what the voters like. The voters, they like a story there too. It's not just about the numbers, right? Ronald Acuna Jr. has the numbers. Mookie has a few better numbers than Ronald Acuna Jr. in some stats, right? But Acuna has way more stolen bases, right? Mookie is definitely driving in some more runs, hitting a few more homers. But Ronald Acuna Jr. right now, with what he's doing with his legs too on the bases, I don't know. I just think, sure, Mookie also does a little bit better with runners in scoring position. But to me, Ronald Acuna Jr., he has that feeling about him. He has that it factor like Judge did last year. I can't believe people were saying Ohtani should have won the MVP last year. Like, I'm thinking, are you not seeing what Judge is doing? I'm just saying. Starting pitch, or actually, no. Hold on a second before I move on to the starting pitching. Orlando Arcia. Wow, what a moment for him the other night. 3-run home run in the top of the 10th Saturday night to give the Braves the win. What a great game that was. Eddie Rosario hitting well, too. Second is starting pitching over the last 14. Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Spencer Strider, Bryce Elder. Hitting great lately. Pitching great lately. I can't find my words. I'm tired. But the Braves, what else is there to say? They're playing great. Continue to be the best team in baseball. They got the Cardinals and the Pirates this week. Let's see how they do. We had a super chat from SoundFX09. Braves still number 1, swept the Rockies and beat the LA Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. 6-game homestand this week with the Cardinals and the Pirates. Acuna for MVP. Soroka starting Tuesday. It's to be determined, but we will see. SoundFX, man, things are going great in Braves land. Is this just the Braves year? You know, like we always look at that best team in baseball. And, you know, like sometimes that, like the Dodgers last year, you know, winning, 116 games. But at the same time, it just sort of felt like you still weren't quite sure about the Dodgers, even though they had 116 wins. This year, the Braves, I don't know. It's kind of hard to find something wrong with this team. Like, it really is. Like, with the Dodgers, you just sort of had, like, this weird feeling about that team. Like, you thought, I don't know, if you weren't quite sure how the starting pitching would be. Bullpen had some bumps, right? You know, and I don't know, like, it's something with the Braves this year. They just feel like they just got it. I don't know, like, it's hard to see this team losing. You know, like, they were good last year too, and they ended up losing in the playoffs there in the first round. But man, what this team does with the bats, how they pitch, it's really good. It's good. I will say the National League, as good as the Braves are, it's definitely going to be a competitive National League. Absolutely going to be competitive. It's always a crapshoot in the playoffs. When it comes to just these other National League teams, you know, sure, Aaron Nola's not looking great lately, but the Phillies, they do have that pitching. They got a couple of guys there. You know, the Brewers, I mean, could they be a sneaky one? You know, but when you really look at it, man, like the Braves just look so good. It's so hard to really pick against the Braves at this point. Unless maybe the Phillies can step up again and go on another crazy run. You know, of course, I'm not talking about the Dodgers here. I mean, the Dodgers, you know, yeah, I know they kind of just lost this series, but I mean, could they bounce back? You know, I don't know, but do they have enough starting pitching? I mean, Urias is not looking great. You never know with Kershaw about his health. I mean, Lance Lynn, like, you know, I don't know. It just feels like there are teams here in the National League. I just don't know if they're going to be there with the Braves. The American League, oh my goodness. You could go a whole bunch of different ways in the American League. You could. But right now for the National League, I think you got to pick the Braves, man. Like, they just look so good. But we'll see. Everyone, I want to thank you so much for stopping by today for another episode of Power Rankings. And thank you for stopping by on your Labor Day weekend. I greatly appreciate it as always. Not as much traffic as we usually have. I'm guessing that is the Labor Day holiday taking over here. But I want to thank you all as always. It's always great seeing all of your friendly faces in the chat. Everyone, don't forget about tonight's sponsor, Underdog. Link is in the description down below. Go check out some daily drafts, some pick'ems. We got football back this Thursday. Obviously, baseball is every day. We got about one more month of baseball left. And they also do stuff in the playoffs, too, so keep that in mind. So go check it out, Underdog. Link is in the description. Use my code HYDE. You get a double on your first deposit up to $100. And everyone, don't forget about SeatGeek. We are still here with SeatGeek. Use my code HYDE. $20 off. I'm going to a game tomorrow. I'm just saying, so we got baseball left. Make sure you take advantage of my code. Use the code HYDE. $20 off. Go on SeatGeek. Type in that code. Everyone, also, if you can, on the way out, hit the like button for me. Share the show for the people that weren't able to make it live. Subscribe if you're new. Everyone, I'm out of here. I got to get some sleep. I'm driving to Tampa tomorrow. I'm going to go see my Red Sox. I'm excited. Man, oh, man. Get to see Brian Bayo pitch for the first time in person. I'm excited. Everyone, have yourself a great night. Thank you to everyone that dropped a super chat tonight. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate the support for the channel. Everyone, have a great night, and I'll talk to you next time.